Good morning, friends. Welcome to Monday morning quiz number 7. It has been wonderful to be in touch with you by this mode of quizzing on quality related topics. I really enjoyed all the 6 editions of the MMQ so far, and the 7th edition today of this Monday morning quiz. Received a few feedback from a few of the respondents, and based on which a few changes I've incorporated. They are very minor. The structure and the way in which this whole thing is. There's a YouTube video, and then there is in the description section is a Google form where you have to respond whether it's a true or false. All that is intact, and the first 3 respondents with the correct answers win a merit certificate and a free nomination to our training program. All that is same. What we have changed is a few respondents did suggest to have the quiz questions first and then the explanation. For those who have been with this quiz earlier, you realize that whenever we start a new episode of Monday Morning Quiz, we actually explain the answers of the previous edition and then go on to give you the questions for the current one. Now, this is, a few people thought that you better announce the questions early and then go for the explanation of the previous quiz later. So that is one change we have done from this episode. So which means the moment we start the quiz, you will have questions for MMQ7, which is the current version. And then later we will talk about the explanation of the questions that we asked in the previous version, and subsequently I'll also declare the winners. So this is a minor change which we have incorporated, again based on the voice of customer, as as the voice of the respondents. The second thing what we also did was that just to break the kind of the structure of the questions that we have, what we do is we thought that every now and then we'll keep minor changes in the way in which we ask questions. For example, the next few quizzes, quiz number 7, 8, 9, and 10, the next, starting from today, the next 3 or 4 quizzes, we will actually share with you a graphical output of any analysis that you did with any data analytics software, or a software from for any quality SPC software or an MSA software. So we'll give you a screenshot of the output, which will be a graphical output, and then the 3 true or false statements will be from that output. So which is the reason why we thought about it is that we felt that in many times, especially when it comes to MSA or SPC, we generally have a feeling that people are very much, very much focused on the final answer of be it a CPK value or the gauge R&R value. In fact, today everybody talks about, any automotive OEM wants a supplier to have CPK 1.67. And maybe a percentage R&R less than 10%, whatever it is. So the whole focus is more towards the final answer of a calculation. And quite often we see in organizations that the managers are missing the most important, aspect of looking at the graphs, looking at the pictures, looking at the histogram, looking at a control chart, looking at some of the graphical analysis, a box plot maybe. So that is what is actually missing. So while most of the softwares, be it GaugePack from PQ Systems or Minitab or any of these softwares, a lot of graphical outputs are given, and that is primarily given for managers to have a look at it and then take appropriate improvement action. Unfortunately, this is not happening. And that is why we thought at PQSI that why not we give this itself as a quiz question. So the next 3 or 4 quizzes, we have aligned it in such a manner that there will be a graphical output on the screen, which you will be able to see. And there will be 3 statements related to that graphical output. And the other half of answering the questions, it will again be a true or false statement. So your answers are always either true or false, and then you can look at the Google form that is mentioned in the description portion of the YouTube video, and all that is same. So that we have not changed anything. And in the next episode, we explain it, the graphical explanation. And that makes more sense for those who really want to understand how to interpret the graphs, which is what is very critical. The idea is, the end result is not important. It's the process and the kind of inputs that you get by looking at the graph, kind of improvement actions that, there are very apparent things coming from these graphs, which unfortunately most of the times we miss it. Like I would say, even if your R&R is less than 10%, and you still identify some improvement actions possible from the graphical output, why not we do it? Why not we reduce it further? Why not we reduce the measurement variations further, which eventually will improve your process capability? So that is the whole idea of these 4 editions of the quizzes. So every 5 quizzes, we wanted to change a little bit of structure so that you also feel something interesting and exciting to answer. I think that helps us also to really scratch our heads and find out new things that can add value in your journey towards excellence. Right. With these few words, let me move on to MMQ number 7, dated today, the 6th September 2021. So let me go to my PPT. So let me share my screen and. Okay, so here we go, the Monday morning quiz from PQSI MMQ07, dated 6th September 2021. Right, so let me move on to the quiz directly. Okay, so this is the picture of this quiz. Okay, so this is an output of a gauge R&R study. So graphical output that is obtained from GaugePack, from PQ Systems, one of the good softwares I would probably feel for, especially when it comes to MSA. It's also a software for calibration management, but I really like the MSA part of the GaugePack, which is especially the graphical version. So this is the 6 small snapshots of the pictures that we have got from GaugePack, right? So this is a graphical output of a gauge R&R study that was conducted with 3 appraisers and 10 parts. Okay, 3 trials, 3 appraisers, 10 parts. Standard MSA study, variable gauge R&R study, and this is the output. Okay, so this is a graphical output that you may probably be getting in other applications also. So this is the output that we have taken it from GaugePack, and with this output, we are going to ask you 3 statements. Okay, so the next slide, you will have the 3 statements from this graphical output. So you need to look at this graph, look at the graphical output, and then answer these 3 questions, these 3 statements. Okay, so statement number 1, appraiser B is inconsistent. So looking at this graph, is this statement true or false is what I want you to know. I want you to answer. The next statement, statement number 2, no significant difference in bias between appraisers A, B, and C. So that's another, so have a look at the picture and then say whether the statement is true or false. And then the third statement is measurement variation is less. Percentage R&R will be less than 10% in this case. That's a statement that I'm making. So it is, have a look at the graphs again and then check whether this statement will be true or false. In fact, I'm really excited because next week, in 2 weeks from now, when I explain these, I'll be able to share with you, what all these graphs say. These graphs indicate a lot of things, a lot of amazing facts, a lot of amazing things on how we can improve the measurement variation, reduce the measurement variation, and improve the process capability. Right. So this is, I think this skill we felt is lacking amongst many, managers and engineers who are involved in doing GR&R study, and therefore we thought why not we run the session? We'll have probably a graphical output on an MSA study or a linearity study or a process capability study, or probably a one-way ANOVA, things like that. So there are many things that are planned. So we will be doing that in the subsequent quizzes. So for now, this is the quiz question. There's a graphical output on your screen, and there are 3 statements pertaining to this graphical output. So look at the graphs, look at the statements, and then key in your answers, whether it's true or false, in the Google form, right? So now with this, we'll move on to the explanation of MMQ06. So what was the MMQ06? Okay, so MMQ06 dated 23rd August 2021. So it was, we asked these 3 statements in MMQ06. The first statement was the ISO GUM method is used to evaluate measurement uncertainty during calibration or testing. This answer is correct. So, we also say, the NABL also follows the same thing. They've released their own NABL 141 guidelines and things like that. So they're all following the ISO GUM method. GUM stands for GEM, stands for Guidelines of Evaluation of Measurement Uncertainty, which is a standard method that is followed globally whenever we look at evaluating measurement uncertainty in a laboratory environment, be it a calibration lab or a testing laboratory. So I'm happy to say that 86% of the respondents got this answer correctly. So which is a very good sign. Okay. So let's move on to the next statement. While conducting MSA for attribute systems, the Kappa values depend on the samples selected, right? Well, the answer for this statement is it is true. Okay, only 57% got this correctly, but yeah, the answer is true. And why it is true? So what's the explanation? So I thought I'll pick up a few, this is the wonderful input I received when I did my Master Black Belt program at the Indian Statistical Institute, Bangalore. That's when I got this very wonderful insights in whenever we do Kappa study, right? So I've just captured the same slide here in it. So here we were asked to calculate Kappa value for 2 different sets of data, right? So the first one is a repeatability Kappa of an appraiser Mary. Another one is a repeatability Kappa of another appraiser Philip. So when we calculate the Kappa values of these 2 appraisers, we get 0.81 for Mary and 0.56 for Philip, right? So that's the Kappa value we get. So based on the Kappa value, I'm sure you'll all agree that Mary is probably a better appraiser. Okay, so she is a better appraiser than Philip because repeatability Kappa values are much higher. But the reality is, if you look at the table, the agreements table that you have, if you look at the agreement, Mary also had about 13 samples where she announced where she rejected in both the trials, and 33 samples she accepted in both the trials. So 33 plus 13 is about 46. So out of 50 trials, 46 times Mary had agreed. And if you look at Philip's table, 3 times he said he rejected in both the trials, and 43 times he accepted in both the trials. So if you add these 2 numbers, 43 plus 3, the number of observed agreements are also 46. So if you look at these 2 tables, both Mary and Philip, they both agreed. They both had agreed 46 out of 50 times. Okay, there are 50 trials. Out of the 50 trials, 46 times both Mary and Philip agreed. So honestly speaking, the Kappa value should also be very similar to them. But when you calculate Kappa, it is actually giving a completely different kind of an interpretation. So Mary appears as if she is much better in terms of agreeing with her own results than Philip, but the reality is not. I mean, this is a very wonderful insight. In fact, I really thank the trainers at the Indian Statistical Institute, Bangalore, where I understood what we should be careful about whenever we do Kappa study. Whenever you do Kappa study, the samples that we select, and that's why the MSA manual also says take 50% good and 50% bad. Okay, and it is better to select different degrees of good and different degrees of bad. Okay, the MSA manual, the AIG manual says 25 good parts or 25 bad parts. So because if you tweak those numbers, and let's say if you have 40 good parts and 10 bad parts, or whatever way you tweak it, the kappa value undergoes a lot of changes, and that really gives you a wrong information. And you declare somebody probably who's not as bad as the other appraiser, but you declare him as an incompetent appraiser. So this is what is the explanation of this. Very, very important. Especially, I see quite a lot of applications in the industry where you do kappa study on visual inspection, be it manufacturer of tires or ceramic tiles or a painting defect in an automotive car making or a welding. So many places we do even a casting. So there are machined parts also, some visual inspections are happening. So wherever you have visual inspection and where you're I would definitely recommend you to do kappa study. And when you do kappa study, we need to be careful about it because again the whole idea is that we are more keen on entering the data in a template and getting the answers. But there are some tricky things. The whole idea of MMQ is to bring to light those minor nitty-gritties when we do. So there are many people who are very good at conducting these studies, very good at entering this data into a software or an Excel template, get all the information, get all the results, and then they declare. They even pass the audits and all that. But the reality is they miss some of the minor, small things that probably impacts the final result. And because of which what happens is that you lose the opportunity to achieve continuing improvement. So that is what is highlighted in this question. So the answer is true, and 57% of the respondents got it correctly. Third question was a very straightforward question. So a process with a CPK of 1.67 can be termed as a 5 sigma quality process. The answer is true. Yes, it is correct. And I'm happy to announce that about 71% of the respondents got this correctly, right? I've been of course, a complete explanation is of CPK of 1, we refer it as a 3 sigma quality process. A CPK of 1.33, we refer it as a 4 sigma quality process. I mean, why we do that? It's more to do with the Z factor. For those who are familiar with the value Z factor, how many standard deviations can be accommodated between the average and the nearest specification. So that's what is indirectly CPK telling you. CPK tells you how many standard deviations that can be accommodated from the average to the nearest specification. So a CPK of 1.67 tells you that you can accommodate 5 standard deviations. And that is why we call it as a 5 sigma quality process. A CPK with 1.33, we can say 4 standard deviation gap could be there. So that's why we call it as a 4 sigma quality process. And a CPK of 1 means we can accommodate only 3 standard deviations. So which is why we call it as a 3 sigma quality process. And of course, CPK of 2, we generally refer it as a 6 sigma quality process because 6 standard deviation gap will be available from the average to the nearest specification. So that's the explanation as far as this statement is concerned. 71% have got these answers correctly. And here are the 3 winners of this MMQ 06. I'm happy to announce their names. Mr. S. Gopi Anand, executive of Sundaram Rubber Industries, Madurai. In fact, I would like to definitely appreciate him because he has been consistently responding. I think almost every quiz he has been trying. And I think, it took him, but I think the learnings are immense. I think that is why I really appreciate him. And he continues to, respond. And so winning is not the final goal. The question is the amount of knowledge that you gain by looking at all these videos is what will probably, definitely make, your process much better, your organization improve their profits, and eventually, India can one day become a developed nation. So, Mr. Gopi Anand, congratulations to you. The next winner is Mr. Nirmal Rajappa, Supply Chain Quality Manager from Nokia, Chennai. And winner number 3 is Mr. Raj Guru. And very interesting, he's a freelance design consultant. Okay, so when I spoke to him, he said, "No, I'm a freelancer," but so nice, for somebody, who's a freelance design consulting to attempt a quiz on SPC, say calibration. So congratulations to you, Raj Guru. Congratulations to all the 3 winners, and of course to all the respondents. There were a couple of others also who got the right answers. So for the same quiz, the only thing is, they were probably not as early as these guys are. So, but nevertheless, but there are a lot of responses, and many of them are got both two answers correctly, and so it's really going very well. So with this, let me wish you all uh, let me wish you all the best of health, prosperity, and happiness. And keep quizzing. I know, keep attending to your quizzes. And I can assure you that these next 3, 4 quizzes are going to be even more exciting, more insights, especially ever since we decided to do this interpretation through graphs is a very important skill, I would say. In fact, most of the interviews, if I handle for quality manager position, we actually show them only the graph. We either give them a data set, or we don't ask specific questions. We don't ask specific questions, what's the formula for CPK, or have you done? So we just give them the data or the graphical output and ask for his interpretation. And I think that's the most important skill any manager, be it in quality or production or methods engineering or even maintenance or product development, any engineer, I think, if he is in manufacturing, I think he should be able to see those graphical tools and make good insights about it. And I think that's a technique and that we are planning to do in the next 3, 4 episodes. So please keep watching our quizzes, and I will be also posting a few videos post this on graphical analysis with MSA in my YouTube channel. So keep watching, and also please send us your valuable feedback. I think based on the feedback is what we altered the structure of the sequencing of our presentation. So your feedback is very, very important. That is what will allow us to think and then give you better value proposition in all the quizzes that we are in. So take care and see you soon. And for now, signing off. This is Nanda from PQSI for the Monday morning quiz. See you. Bye for now.